The following program is sponsored by the Building Wisconsin Television Network.
Welcome to Building Wisconsin, Todd. Thanks for coming on today's show. And wow, it's mid-morning and these guys are already working on the finishing process of this project. So let's get caught up to speed, where we're at and what we're gonna see on today's show.
So we're on a Middleton Construction project over in Deforest. Last few hours, they've put in 30,000 square foot here.
Wow. So, is this considered the commercial side of your local 599 members compared to some of the road building projects we saw earlier?
Yes, Stu, this is more of the commercial side of it. It's big warehouses, big flatwork floors, just like you see downtown Madison, the high-rise vertical, that's all commercial work.
So your members work on both, right?
Yep.
They're trained accordingly?
They're trained to do both, yes. Yep.
Okay, now you mentioned Middleton Construction is the contractor. Tell us a little bit about them and their partnership with Local 599.
Middleton's partnership with Local 599 is huge. We train the members in our facility in Madison and also in Milwaukee. We have two facilities. We do a lot of rider training. Yeah, it's a great partnership. Russ has been one of our biggest contributors since I've been around for 10 years in the office. So yeah, it's great.
I know off camera you were telling me that he actually donated one of those machines.
Yes, yeah. So in the Madison facility, Russ donated a rider that we can use for the program for all the young guys.
Does that really help you guys out when contractors step up and donate to the apprenticeship training center?
It's huge. We're a small local and we fund it ourselves.
And speaking of members, I know that you guys are always looking for dependable, hardworking individuals who want to join 599, work for contractors like Middleton Construction. Let's say I work as a cement mason for a local concrete contractor, but I'm looking to make a change. Maybe I can get higher pay, maybe better benefits. Is it different for them to enter? Do they need to go through a complete apprenticeship?
So there's three different options. So you can go through the apprenticeship program, obviously. We have a trainee program where if you have some experience, you're gonna start out a little bit higher. Maybe you don't have to go to school, right? The employer might require you to go to school and tell you this is how we're gonna work it. But say you got 10, 15, 20 years of experience, we want you to come over. Russ Pulver wants you, Findorf wants you, right? Yep. They want them experience from around the state.
So that's good, and I know you don't have to just be in your 20s or 30s. I know in our previous show, we had somebody who's actually, maybe in his 50s or even early 60s, just wants to keep working. You guys value that, don't you?
I have had apprentices come in twice in the last 10 years that I've been a BA, 50 years old.
Wow.
Started an apprenticeship, and they were still going into their 60s.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yep.
Okay, well, I really appreciate you coming on today's show, introducing the project. I'm gonna go catch up with Russ Pulver right now from Middleton Construction to learn more about the process.
Thanks, Stu, I appreciate it.
Welcome to Building Wisconsin. Russ, thanks for coming on today's show. These guys are really making some great progress on this particular pour. Now, what is Middleton Construction's role on this particular project?
Stu, our role on this job is we're the concrete contractor. On this particular job, we did the foundations, interior flat work, and we're doing the exterior flat work at the same time. Today, we're just pouring the interior flat work. The foundations obviously are complete, but today we're pouring 30,000 square feet, about 650 yards, and as you can see, we're almost done with our pour.
Wow, so is this a pretty typical project for your company?
It is. We're a commercial concrete contractor, and for what we're doing today is what we do day in and day out, Monday through Friday.
And so you do flat work, walls, really a turnkey operation, so that's got to be beneficial to the owner and a general contractor that hires your company.
It is. It's one phone call.
That's good. What is your geographic area? Meaning you're basically a Madison-based company, and this is in Deforest, so this is in your backyard, but do you go further than southern Wisconsin?
Jobs this close to home don't happen all the time. And I always say you gotta go where the job is. With the state of Wisconsin, with the commercial aspects of concrete construction, it's from Green Bay, Janesville, Beloit, back to Madison, which I call the triangle. There's others around the state of Wisconsin, but we concentrate on that part in our market.
Do you guys ever go out of state?
We do. We travel for a company out of Wisconsin that is nationwide, and we're fortunate to follow them doing the concrete flat work and the foundations also.
Well, back to this project, let's walk through it from preparation to completion and what your guys are up to.
So today we're coming to the end of our pour. On Friday, they use the laser grader to grade the sub base, as you can see. And then the day of the pour, they lay out the plastic, and once the plastic's laid and taped, the truck pours the concrete out 15 feet, and then the laser screed with the laser technician booms out 15 feet and screeds it back to its first pass. Then on the other side of the screed is a cement mason who is bull floating the concrete with a magnesium float. The magnesium float brings the bleed water to the top of the surface for workability for when they're troweling, pushes the aggregate down, and then we let it hydrate or harden, as you can see the steps that are taken to the finishing of the floor.
Well, you know what I love to see when I'm visiting construction projects like this is the latest technology. And I mean, the industry has really evolved. I mean, you can see they're using hand tools to spread it out, to place the concrete, but then you have what you call the laser screed and some pretty high-tech equipment here.
With the business of concrete, the technology and the equipment has advanced tremendously to make it easier on the workers. The laser screed has been a major engineering phenomena, along with the trawlers and the riders and the computer equipment to make it all happen.
And it seems to me that it's extremely accurate when you're using that technology. I mean, when you look at this floor, it looks perfectly level. How much variation is there?
It goes in the process. So the screed gets it within an 1/8 inch, and then the trawlers get it within a 1/16 of an inch with the size of the 10-foot riders that level the concrete to smooth it off and harden the surface.
Okay, so as I look around, there's a number of different trades that are involved here. Today's show, we're focusing in on the cement masons, the cement finishers. What is their role in here? Do they actually help out a bit with the placing of the concrete?
They do, Stu. Their role is to place the concrete, level it within reason for the laser screed. Then they drop back and start the finishing procedure. I always mimic it like waxing a car. It goes in surfaces. You start with a low-grade grit and work your way up to the fine grit to get the sheen, the polish, and the final appearance.
You know, as I look out here, this looks like a pretty thick pour. It's a big commercial building, obviously. How thick is this concrete?
This particular floor is 6 inches thick with 3 pounds of fiber mesh. Let me get you a sample of it right now. So this mix here matches the mix design, Stu. It's got 1.5 inch aggregate with little aggregates to make a well-fined mix. We use a larger aggregate to create more surface area to minimize curling of the concrete floors. And then you got the fiber mesh, as you can see there, for reinforcement. And the overall, this mix matches the mix design for the end-use quality product.
So this really is high-tech right down, not just the machines, but down to the mix itself. And that's interesting that there's a purpose for each size aggregates that's in there. An aggregate, somebody might say, what's that? Well, it's really stone, right, or rock?
Correct. And you got the different size of gradations to make it all come together.
And so how long will it take this to cure? Like, I mean, you're talking about a product that you get one chance to get it right.
We'll be done in 8 hours, Stu, and going home.
Wow. And so when we talk about getting it right, how important is the training of the workers that you get from Local 599?
Immense. They are the lifeline of our success for the quality product we put down, Stu.
Really? And so you value the training at a high level?
I always reference a plumber or electrician can minimize their errors by moving a pipe here and there. Once our product is done, it's very expensive to replace and fix.
Couldn't have said it better myself. Well, let's move on down here. I'm curious more about this floating machine.
Let's do it.
So would you consider this to be the finishing stages of finishing concrete?
Stu, this is part of the process from start to finish. As you can see, as the concrete's down there now, the different sheens of the floor, that looks a little wet for what it is being we just poured. This machine, the pan rider, comes on the next stage when the concrete starts to hydrate or get hard. The timing on that is crudely sometimes by their footprint, where you can just step out there and see the footprints in the slab.
Wow, hardly at all.
After 3 hours of pouring, Stu, it's starting to get hard, and then they know it's start panning.
And you're not worried about the footprints you just put in there?
Not at all. The pan machine will take them right out.
And you're calling it a pan machine. It was pretty cool to see it when it's running, and they'll use that multiple times on here?
On here, the pan machine will be done once, and you can kind of see the pattern of the machine and the sheen of the light and how it comes. It's called the pan machine because if you lift it up, it's got 2 5-foot pans that look like pizza pans.
And that goes around and really helps to, I gotta believe, level it off, because that's pretty wide.
It does. The wider the better to make the concrete flatter.
And so when I look around and then I still see some hand finishing going on here.
The edges need to be detailed just like anything. The machine can only do so much and get so close.
Okay.
Where this gentleman here is getting the trowel down flat and level for the smooth transition.
Okay, another aspect I see when it gets even harder are the saw cuts here. And maybe you could explain what those are for the viewers.
When that's done, Stu, that's a final process. After the combo rider is done troweling the floor, then the saws come in and we come down and cut our control joints 2 times the thickness of the slab for crack control.
Because I know in the past, one thing you can count on is concrete is gonna crack, and those are controlling where it cracks.
And that's where we try to prevent that. Yes, all concrete cracks, but we try to get ahead of the curve on that and to minimize that effect.
How much will this concrete shrink? I mean, does concrete shrink as it dries out?
It does. In time, it'll shrink usually 1 inch in 100 feet, but with that type of mixture, it minimizes the shrinkage and pouring in a controlled environment. The conditions today are perfect for concrete construction. You have the equilibrium where the subbase is equal as the air temperature as the ready-mix concrete coming together. It's all within the same 65 to 70 degrees temperature.
Well, you know, I just marvel at all the technology of concrete. And it takes highly skilled, highly trained individuals to get it done right the first time, because as you alluded to before, you get one chance to get it right. So before we leave today, maybe you could share some advice on what to look for in the next generation of cement masons.
Stu, we look for individuals that are dedicated, willing to have pride in what they do from what they wake up in the morning until they go home at night. Concrete is a one-stop, one-chance opportunity, and there's a lot of skill and talent and oversight that goes into that. The type of employee we look for is one that shows up on time, learns from their craft, and then excels in their craft to teach the next generation.
So dependable, hardworking. I mean, it's a rewarding career at the end of the day, right?
It is, and with the technology and equipment that has come about, it has made the trades easier to do what they need to do for a skilled product.
Sure, and what does that mean? It means longevity. It's a rewarding career, but it's one that can last your entire working lifetime. And I have a lot of friends that are in this field, and because of the advancements in technology, they're able to work, and they don't, you know, it's not quite as difficult as it was years ago.
In the trades, it's a family business. It's either generational, aunts, uncles, fathers, sons, and it continues to carry on even to concrete construction.
Yep. And at the end of the day, the pride is second to none. I just love that. And I really appreciate you taking time out of your schedule to come on and share with us the hardworking individuals here on this massive project. We'll see you again in the future.
Thanks, Stu.